Hey Ivan, Spider-Mutt12 says, just a thought. Set a rep range for yourself to auto-regulate, say 8 to 10. If you fall below 8, you reduce the weight by 2.5 kg. If you get 10 or more, 2 sessions in a row, you add 2.5 kg. That's Spider-Mutt. Dario Zarba, the fella that I responded to yesterday, he responded to that video writing, "Hello Ivan, thank you very much for the response and for all the kind words. It's really an honor for me. Appreciate that, man. I just want to reply to your comment about my suggestion. Training is all about pushing the body to adapt by giving it a stimulus. Right now, you are doing it with the 180 AMRAPs. Every time you are doing it, your AMRAP raises. Let's say for the sake of simplicity, it is raising approximately 1 kg per week. To get one more rep, you would need to train for 6 weeks to get the next rep, because we assume that every rep that I get on my AMRAP is approximately 6 kg more on my 1 rep max. So you just keep in mind that your 1 rep max raises in the meantime, not just as much that you can do one more rep. My apologies. To get one more rep, you would need to train for 6 weeks. Eventually, if your body is capable, you will reach it, but it is optimal to train 180 till you reach another rep. Not necessarily. You must keep in mind that your 1 RM is raising in the meantime, just not as much that you can do one more rep. He goes on to say, one approach could be to add microplates every week for, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks, so that you can stimulate the body with the right weight for you. Then, at the end of the cycle, just do an AMRAP with 180 and see if you can do one more rep. I don't see the problem with lower rep ranges just because you add small increments. You can choose a weight that you can lift for 15 reps and man, these freaking mosquitoes, man. You can choose a weight that you can lift for 15 reps and add small increments every week for the next 15 weeks. Yes, you're adding weight, but but on the meantime, your strength level is also raising, so that you can pretty much hold the rep target of 15 reps every week. Of course, with the auto regulation in mind, just do as many reps as you can, just with 1 kg more every week. On the other hand, I understand your thoughts. I'm also a fan of keeping it simple. I also saw that a lot of people are commenting about what you can do. This is not my intention. Just wanted to give you my 2 cents, some ideas. Keep enjoying what you're doing. We appreciate it. And then there's a comment on here from Coma7778. He says, I had the same experience of adding more reps, not with such heavy weights though, and I fell into a volume trap of excessive fatigue. Dario Zarba, Spider-Mutt, there's a lot of suggestions in regards to man, these freaking mosquitoes, man. There's a lot of suggestions in regards to how I should approach it, and not just solely rely on the AMRAP sets, and not just relying on getting one more rep. A lot of people are recognizing the difficulty associated with this type of approach, that is just such gut-wrenching work. And, a lot of people are kind of alluding to that I will stall. Like Dario is saying, you will stall because it's unrealistic that you're going to be putting on 6 kg on your 1 rep max every week or every 2 weeks. He alluded to the best case scenarios will probably be 6 weeks, every 6 weeks. And so a lot of people are kind of suggesting these kind of rules, if you do this, then you do this, kind of if-then type of like a scientific hypothesis type of approach, where if I do, let's say 180 kilos for more than 10 reps, couple of sessions in a row, then I raise the weight. If I get less than 8 reps, then I decrease the weight by 2.5 kilos. Those kind of like rules, goals, micro goals within each session, so I can kind of gauge where I'm at. All of these things, I see the logic without a doubt. There's definitely an approach to do that as well, definitely. For me, when I think about these types of things, something within me just rejects it right away in terms of the approach as a whole. And I think it stems from the fact that it's too much if-then and too much rules and too much rigidity. I know it's crazy, right? Because what I've got happening right now, there's some rigidity in that as well. And that rigidity is that I'm working with 180 and nothing else. So you can definitely say, well, you've chosen this rigidity with 180, what's the goal? I think the overarching feeling is that I'm happy with 180. 180 doesn't scare me. Part of me is like, what if subconsciously, this is really weird, but hear me out. What if subconsciously I have 4, 5, 6 really, really good sessions? Really good sessions. So that's like 3 weeks, really, really good sessions. And during these 3 weeks, I haven't done any night shifts. And so I've gone up, let's say 7.5 kilos on my working weight. Let's just say, one example, I know Dario wasn't talking about that exactly, but let's say, 6 sessions in a row, I've had a really, really good period. And then I hit a week of night shifts where I'm doing night shifts and my oral intake is falling down. And now I have 2, 3, 4 training sessions in a row where I'm really, really struggling. And so these 2 or 3 or 4 sessions in a row, I'm now decreasing the weight. See how when you are building a house upon a shifty ground, it becomes very, very hard to plan ahead because there's no foundation. So these if and then work really, really great if you assume there's some sort of baseline underneath your feet. I don't have such luxury. Yes, I have 3 weeks of glorious progress, and then I always hit 1 or 2 weeks where I am stuck. Not stuck, but I hit periods where I can't eat because of night shifts, work, stress, kids, we're doing lots of different things, like everything hits me, and all of a sudden I'm now in a training period where I've escalated my training intensity based upon the previous 3 weeks, and now I've hit a rough patch in my life, and now I have to live under these clouds which I've built upon on really, really good periods, and I'm copping it sweetly. Now I'm really weak. I'm the weakest I have been in 2 months at the strongest workload, all in one mix. So it's like a perfect storm. I feel crap and I have the most amount of work. I've hit these periods many, many times before. I have 2 or 3 weeks where it's like beautiful rostering, great, fantastic. I've had a really good run. And then I hit a week of just freaking mayhem. Things happen, night shifts, whatever happens, and then I regress. I lose my appetite, I lose my will to train. Not will to train, just lose my spark to train. And then I just start feeling weaker. And there's like a natural, let's say, oscillation of biology, kind of like oscillating based upon many other oscillations in my social life, socioeconomic life, all these stresses. And so I'm putting this rigidity, this mesh of rigidity that we call programming on top of something which is not rigid at all. Biology is always in flux, always searching for an equilibrium, always searching for some sort of resting point. But I'm trying to put some metal structure over the top of it. And so I kind of reject automatically, purely because I've tried many, many times to do this and failed and got frustrated and spun out. And so then I have this feeling of rejection when there's too many rules, like too many if and thens. What I like is 180. 180 is become a weight that doesn't stress me out mentally. It doesn't stress me all that much physically. I push it, and it's a really good indicator for me, right? So for the next 6 months, let's say, if I stay with 180, I have a very, very good, stable, static thing which I can use to structure my training from. Okay, right now I can hit 180 for 12. Fantastic. In the next 4 or 5 weeks, I can hit 180 for 13 or 14. Fantastic. There's progress there. And it's not really shaking my foundation. It's manageable, even on cloudy, rainy days. My worry is if I do go to 190 over the next 4 or 5 weeks, and I start working with that weight, and then I hit a tough period, and then I start doing 190 for a set of, 5, 6. How do you equate that? Is my 180 for 12 the same as 190 for 8? Have I done anything? and yet I'm being exposed to a heavier load and lower reps, which stress me out much more than these high repetitions. So all of these things come onto my mind, and this is why I've kind of been the way I've been for such a long time with my training and with looking for like this perfect way to go about it. I don't like structure. Lots and lots of people have said to me, why don't you reach out to this person, to that person, to this person, to this person. Lots of great minds, very accessible. I can reach out to these people and they will definitely help me. But who knows my lifestyle better than me? Sure, I might not have the best knowledge like some of these guys that have gone to the freaking Olympics, but they don't know what I'm going through. You know, if you find me somebody who is an exceptional guy and who lives, exceptional lifter, and who lives a similar life to me, nursing nights, all that sort of stuff, then I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to kind of approach that. The trouble is, it's very, very hard to find somebody who is walking the same path as you. And so that's why I've kind of opted out to some of these less optimal methodologies, and seemingly just made up, plucked out all these different ideas from various different spots, and I've kind of put them together. And for a lot of people, it seems like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? At first, but then when they hear me talk about some of the other restrictions that I have, then they maybe start to understand what's going on. Yes, 1 kilo every week works. Sticking between 8 and 10 rep range also works. All these things work, but I don't see how my approach is any different. You need to understand that stress, this is how I think about it, stress doesn't have to be measured in one dimension. Stress can be measured in multiple different dimensions, many different ways. Just look at the bodybuilding world. You can be doing lateral raises with 5 kilos, like this. Then you can start doing 5 kilos like this. Now, and I'm getting the same repetitions. Have I progressed? Oh, for debate, right? Of course you have. You've made a change, which is more difficult than the previous variation. You've made a change. What if I do 180 for 12, but instead of doing it for over 90 seconds, I'll do it over 60 seconds. The weight's the same, the reps are the same, yet I've completed it quicker. Has there been progress? Without a doubt. I don't understand why we have to be so strict in our views and in our measurements to just only care about 2 metrics, weight and reps. There's many different ways to go about it. So even though I'm using the same weight for the same repetitions over the last couple of weeks, I feel confident under the weight. There's like a building. Yes, I haven't gotten the 6 kilo jump or my one rep max because I haven't gotten the 13th rep. Yet I feel like I'm sticking up to that because there's progress within the same parameters. It's almost like looking into the darkness and not seeing anything. But then you put night vision goggles and you're like, well, there's something there. Just because you can't measure it with the utensils that you have in front of you doesn't mean it's not there. That's how I view it. And as long as my, the philosophical, Jesus, I forgot I was going to say Seneca. It wasn't Seneca. The Roman, the founding father of Stoicism. I can see him. I can see the words, but I can't read it. I want to say Aristotle. It's not Aristotle, dude. Damn it. When your brain stops like this. The Roman founding father of Stoicism. Come on, brain. I know it's the end of the day, but you gotta work. Stoicism. I want to say Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius? Marcus Aurelius? Aurelius? Marcus Aurelius. It's Aurelius, isn't it? Anyway, just like he said, focus on the effort, not the result. That's my approach. I think a lot of people have anxiety when they think about that because it doesn't give them a measurable thing. But I know that these sessions that I'm doing with AMRAP sessions, deep down in my soul, I know I'm stimulating the living shit out of the body. I'm stimulating into the right direction. There's no doubt in my mind that that's going to lead to something. There's way too much discomfort with way too much weight for that not to eventuate into something. And so I'll continue to stay patient and wait for the body to catch up and go, you know what, let's get another rep. That's it. So I don't need to have that anxiety about force feeding the body 1 kilo at a time, 1 kilo at a time. Don't need to do that. 8 to 10 rep range, measuring the biology every second I go. Nah, don't need to do that. Focus on the effort, everything else will come. That to me is comfortable psychologically on rainy days, on sunny days, on beautiful days. It allows me to just exist happily. And as long as the effort is really there, and I can push myself to like maybe 1 rep in reserve if I really freaking push it, 0 reps in reserve, I like my chances of putting another rep on. And then instead of fat-assing around with all these fractional plates for 12 weeks, putting on 12 kilos, if I just put on 2 reps in a calm way, without stressing, without trying to measure God and nature and biology, without trying to control all of these variables, which are very difficult to control. I'll tell you another thing. Which I've experienced with linear progression and forcing these adaptations. I remember once upon a time when I was doing 150 kilos on a 5x5. I'm doing 150 kilos. And then the next week I'm supposed to do 152.5. And I put 152.5, and that also moves. And then I put 155, and that also moves. And on paper I put, yeah, it's gone. But then I look at the video and it looks shitter and shitter and shitter. And as the weight gets heavier, I attack it even more and more aggressively, and it gets shitter and shitter and shitter. And even though on paper, scientifically, it's bloody beautiful, mate. Keep going. Internally, I'm like, this is shit. This is shit. This is not sustainable. Something will snap. And then the workouts start to go over an hour and a half, slugfests. And I start to feel bad about training, start to resent training. I don't like it. I don't like that. I like to use a weight that I can handle for 10 reps and keep working it with very good effort. That's what I like to do. We're all different. We're all different. All of your suggestions are logical, but I see a trend that everyone wants some sort of way of measuring progress, basically keeping an eye on the biology underneath. People like to have multiple different measuring parameters, and then as soon as we see something, act upon it. I just want to have one. How many reps can you get? In my mind, if I get to 180 for 50, I'm gonna be freaking strong. And that gives me peace. Gives me absolute peace. It might take me forever. Might never be able to get there. Will I have periods later in the year or maybe in the next few months where I do like a 2 or 3 week period of singles? Yeah, probably. We'll see. But I really want to get that 180 for 20. It excites me. It makes me happy. Training seems fun again. My body feels amazing. And I don't want to start messing around with it. I'm in a happy spot. Even though all your suggestions make a lot of sense. Like always, guys, I appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.